6 rounds, 75 questions, 1 point for each correct answer. How many will you score? Hi folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Pub Quiz, your weekly fix for general knowledge questions and trivia fun facts. If you're new here, I'm Alan, your regular quizmaster and host. A score in today's quiz over 40 is good, but a score of over 60, that's excellent. Round 1 is your easy quickfire trivia round. Good luck, let's crack on with the quiz. Question 1. In which film did the song Over the Rainbow first appear? That was in The Wizard of Oz. Question 2. Who delivered the famous I Have a Dream speech in 1963? That was Martin Luther King Jr. Question 3. Who wrote The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings? It was written by J.R.R. Tolkien. Question 4. The Burj Khalifa is located in which country? You would find it in the United Arab Emirates. Question 5. What is the world's largest ocean? That is the Pacific. Question 6. Which animal has Siberian, Sumatran and Bengal subspecies? That is a tiger. Question 7. What did Jack and Jill go up the hill to fetch? It was a pail of water. Question 8. On which planet is the volcano Olympus Mons? You would find it on the planet Mars. Question 9. Who had a hit with Man in the Mirror in 1988? It was a hit for Michael Jackson. And quiz question 10. In which US state did the first Disney theme park open in? It opened in California. I scored 10 out of 10 in that round. Hopefully you did too. Round 2 is all about waterways. Quiz question 11. The River Danube starts in Germany, but into which sea does it flow? Would that be the Adriatic Sea, the Baltic Sea, or the Black Sea? The correct answer is the Black Sea. The Danube flows through 10 countries and it passes directly through 4 national capitals: Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest and Belgrade. Question 12. The capital of the United States of America stands on the banks of which major river? It stands on the banks of the Potomac River. Question 13. In which South American country is the source of the Amazon River located? Would that be in Brazil, Colombia, or Peru? It starts off in Peru. Question 14. The River Spree flows through the capital city of which European country? It flows through the capital of Germany. Question 15. Which country's capital city sits on the shores of Port Nicholson Harbour? Would that be Australia, Canada, or New Zealand? The correct answer is New Zealand. The city of Wellington stands on the shores of Port Nicholson, also known as Wellington Harbour. Question 16. The United States completed the Panama Canal in 1914, but which European country first began building it in 1881? The correct answer here is France. France's attempt collapsed after engineering failures and deadly disease outbreaks. More than 20,000 workers died before the project was abandoned in 1889. The United States restarted work in 1904 and completed the canal in 1914. Question 17. The city of Dublin sits on the banks of which major river? Is that the Lee, the Liffey, or the Shannon? It sits on the banks of the Liffey. Question 18. The Venetian Lagoon connects the canals of Venice to which sea? Is it the Adriatic Sea, the Ionian Sea, or the Tyrrhenian Sea? The correct answer is the Adriatic Sea. Question 19. Which major lake does the Canadian city of Toronto sit on? It sits on the shores of Lake Ontario. And quiz question 20. How many capital cities sit on the banks of the River Nile? Is it 2, 3, or 4 capital cities? The correct answer is 3. The River Nile flows through a total of 11 countries and 3 capital cities: Cairo, Khartoum and Juba. 5 out of 10 for me there. Not great. Round 3 is on Greek heroes and myths. Quiz question 21. Which Greek hero, along with his crew, went in search of the Golden Fleece? That was Jason and his Argonauts. Question 22. Which Greek god owned a helm of invisibility? It was owned by Hades. The helm of invisibility, along with Zeus's thunderbolt and Poseidon's trident, was said to have been forged by the Cyclops, the master craftsman of Greek mythology. Question 23. Which monster did Heracles have to kill as his first labour? Was that the Lernaean Hydra, the Minotaur, or the Nemean Lion? It was the Nemean Lion. Question 24. Which Greek hero tamed Pegasus and killed the monster Chimera? Was it Bellerophon, Perseus, or Theseus? was killed by Bellerophon. Question 25. Who solved the riddle of the Sphinx and became king of Thebes? Was that Agamemnon, Cadmus, or Oedipus? The correct answer was Oedipus. The story of Oedipus is where the term Oedipus complex comes from, but in the original myth, he had no idea who his mother was. He unknowingly married her, had children with her, but the tragedy is driven entirely by fate, not by intention. Question 26. Which Greek hero killed Hector, Troy's greatest warrior, at the Battle of Troy? He was killed by Achilles. Achilles was so fierce in their duel that Hector first tried to outrun him. The two warriors circled the walls of Troy 3 times before Achilles finally struck him down. Question 27. Which god gifted Perseus a polished bronze shield that helped him defeat the Medusa? It was gifted to him by Athena. Question 28. Which monster did the hero Odysseus blind in the poem The Odyssey? Was that Cerberus, Chimera, or Polyphemus? He blinded Polyphemus. Question 29. Who was the king of Crete who demanded Athenian youths be sent into the labyrinth to be fed to the Minotaur? That was King Minos. And quiz question 30. The Gigantomachy was the great war between the Olympian gods and what race of powerful beings? It was a war between the gods and giants. According to the myth, the gods couldn't defeat the giants without help. A mortal hero, Heracles, was required to land the final blows. For his role in the battle, Heracles was granted full immortality and welcomed among the gods. A slightly better 6 out of 10 for me. Round 4 is your picture it round, and this week, can you name the movie from these still images? What's question 31? Can you name the film from this still? That is from The Lion King. Question 32. That one is The Matrix. Many of the famous slow-mo action moments in The Matrix were shot in real time, with dozens of still cameras arranged in a circle. The images were then stitched together to create the iconic bullet time effect. Question 33. That is from Titanic. Question 34. That one is Toy Story. Question 35. That is from The Shawshank Redemption. Question 36. That is from the film Castaway. Filming was paused for a full year on Castaway, whilst Tom Hanks transformed by losing 50 pounds and growing his hair and beard long. During the break, director Robert Zemeckis and the crew shot a whole other movie. What lies beneath? Question 37. That is from Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Question 38. That one is Inception. Question 39. That still is from John Wick. And quiz question 40. That one, of course, is from Harry Potter. The Sorting Hat's distinctive voice comes from the comedic tones of Leslie Phillips, who was famous in the 50s, 60s and 70s for playing posh, suave, roguelike characters in British comedies, such as the Carry On movies and the Doctor film series. A much better 9 out of 10. Round 5 is lyrics from the 90s. Can you guess the artist or band? Quiz question 41. Can you name the artist or band who sang these lyrics? The song here was Tub Thumpin' by Chumbawamba. Question 42. That is Don't Speak by No Doubt. Question 43. That is My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Question 44. That is Wonderwall by Oasis. Question 45. That is Say My Name by Destiny's Child. Question 46. That is called Stop by the Spice Girls. Question 47. That is Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega. Question 48. Is You Gotta Be by Des'ree. Question 49. Is Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot. And quiz question 50. That is The Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang. Now, if you made it this far in the quiz, and you're enjoying the quiz, do me a favour, pause the video and smash that like button. It's the best way you can support my channel and any other small channels that you enjoy. If you're new here, you're obviously a very intelligent person, so why not make that official? Grab your phone, scan this QR code on the screen and hit the subscribe button. Become a pub quiz regular VIP. It's free and it's the best way to stay up to date with all the channel's latest content. Right, back to the quiz. Unfortunately, only 4 out of 10 in that music round for me. Round 6, as always, is your general knowledge round. 25 mixed format questions coming up. Quiz question 51. John Bellingham assassinated which British Prime Minister in 1812? Was that Robert Peel, Spencer Perceval or Stanley Baldwin? It was Spencer Perceval. Perceval remains the only British Prime Minister ever assassinated. Bellingham shot him in the chest with a small concealed pistol in the lobby of the House of Commons. He then calmly surrendered and was tried and executed just 1 week later. Question 52. The Byzantine Cathedral of Constantinople is now better known as which major Turkish landmark? It is better known as the Hagia Sophia. Question 53. In Shakespeare's Macbeth, who is king at the start of the play? That would be King Duncan. Question 54. Oxygen makes up approximately what percentage of the Earth's atmosphere? Is it 21%, 44% or 78%? It makes up 21%. Question 55. In football soccer, how many times has Brazil won the Men's FIFA World Cup? The correct answer is 5 times. Question 56. What name is given to the pollen-producing part of a flower? Is that the anther, the sepal, or the stigma? It is called the anther. Pollen is a fine powder made up of tiny grains that contain the plant's male reproductive cells. When it lands on the right part of another flower, it travels down to fertilise the plant, which ultimately creates seeds. Question 57. Hannibal, Face, Murdoch and BA were all characters from which 80s TV show? They were from the A-Team. Question 58. Which of these mammals hibernates? Is it a bat, a beaver, or a bobcat? The correct answer are bats. Question 59. The medical condition angina predominantly reduces blood flow to which organ of the body? It is the heart. Quiz question 60. The International Police Network, Interpol, was founded in which country in 1923? Was it in Austria, France or Switzerland? It was founded in Austria. Interpol was founded in 1923 by the Austrian police chief Johann Schober. It began in Vienna as a way for police forces to share information internationally long before modern communication existed. Question 61. Which science fiction author wrote The War of the Worlds in 1898? That was written by H.G. Wells. Question 62. Liberty City, Los Santos and Las Venturas are all fictional locations in which video game series? The correct answer here is Grand Theft Auto. Question 63. Which actor played the trainer Mickey Goldmill in the first 3 Rocky films? Was that Burgess Meredith, Eli Wallach, or Jack Palance? Mickey was played by Burgess Meredith. Before playing Rocky's gravel voice trainer, Burgess Meredith was already a Hollywood star, appearing in films so far back as the 1930s. He featured in iconic Twilight Zone episodes and even played the Penguin in the 60s Batman TV series. Question 64. Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, is part of which constellation? Would that be Canis Major, Orion, or Gemini? It is part of Canis Major. Question 65. Which Miley Cyrus song won the 2024 Grammy for Record of the Year? That was the song Flowers. Question 66. Which chemical element was responsible for the phrase, as mad as a hatter? The correct answer here is mercury. Mercury nitrate was used in the 18th 19th century hat making, and prolonged exposure caused tremors, mood swings and confusion, giving rise to the phrase, mad as a hatter. Question 67. In cooking, which sauce is made by emulsifying egg yolks, butter and lemon juice? Is that a Béarnaise, Hollandaise or velouté sauce? That would make a Hollandaise sauce. Question 68. In The Lord of the Rings, how many rings were gifted to the Dwarf Lords? Was it 3, 7 or 9 rings? They were gifted 7 rings. Question 69. Which continent has the fewest countries? That would be Antarctica. What's question 70? What type of animal is a slippery dick wrasse? Is it a bird, a fish, or a lizard? It is in fact a fish. Despite the name sounding like the morning after a bad night out, The slippery dick wrasse is a small Caribbean reef fish. Question 71. Which alcoholic spirit's name literally translates to little water? The correct answer here is vodka. Question 72. Sarajevo Bandaranike was the first female what? Was she an astronaut, a heart surgeon, or Prime Minister? She was the first ever female Prime Minister. She became Prime Minister of Ceylon in 1960, the first woman ever to lead a national government. Question 73. Which British actor starred alongside Steve Martin as two conmen in the film Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? Was that Dudley Moore, John Cleese, or Michael Caine? It was Michael Caine. Question 74. Which ancient Greek physician is often called the father of medicine? That would be Hippocrates. And question 75. Trinitrotoluene is an explosive more commonly known by what three letters? That is TNT. And that concludes today's quiz. My final score was 54. I'll leave you with one final bonus question on the screen worth 2 bonus points. Remember to let me know your score in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you fancy another challenge, why not try out one of these quizzes here? Bye for now.